very glad to be with you today. And today I'm going to share with you some hot regulatory news coming from Europe, the European Green Deal. So what it is? So it is like the big general regulatory umbrella. And you see that it touches many sectors in Europe. So it's very diverse areas. And you can see here that for cosmetic business, we have two which are especially concerning our industry. The one which is about a cleaner and circular economy, and the second one which is about zero pollution ambition with a toxic-free environment. So today I'm going to zoom into those two categories which are impacting our sector. So we have this top level EU Green Deal. Here you see on the left the Circular Economy Action Plan. Today I'm not going to talk about this one, but just to give you an idea, this is where you can find a project on deforestation. This is where we can find a project on wastewater management. We have a project as well on EU green claims. So this is all under this part. This is as well a big one, which is currently happening. So today I'm not going to talk about this one. Maybe I come next year where we will have more news to detail you this one. Today I've chosen to focus on another part, which is the chemical strategy for sustainability. And this one is very impressive, and this is where you can see the huge pressure we have in Europe. But this strategy will be impacting in parallel the REACH regulation, the CLP, and the cosmetic product regulation. So this is where we are in the middle of this storm. The idea of the European authorities and the Commission here is really to better protect the citizen, to better protect the environment, and in their idea, all of this could stimulate innovation and could help the European companies to be even more competitive. Well, for us, it's really a question mark on how we can really be more innovative, but this is the idea. And so you see the two big principles here. It's really, again, it's cross categories. It's not just for cosmetics. This idea and those principle is for any sector. So the idea, it's called safe by design. And from the beginning of the development of your product, the idea is that you should not include toxic substance. And a second principle is essentiality, with an idea to ban most dangerous substances unless it's necessary for health, safety, or or for the society. So this is where you see that for cosmetics, it raises a big question about our business, whether it is essential or not. What is behind essentiality? Will it be essentiality defined under the product itself or under the function of the ingredient? And those are all questions that our industry is currently asking ourselves. And we expect as well to see a bit more where the Commission is going to position themselves. But for sure, this is an area that we monitor very closely. So I'm going to give you more details, and now we are going to zoom into each of those three pillars. So first, let's start with this chemical strategy for sustainability. So the idea, again, is about this generic risk management, which is called as well GRA. And with the idea at the beginning to say, okay, I have one substance, I should have one assessment, one evaluation. And again, here, think about it cross-sector. And this is why you see that for our cosmetic industry, it can be very dangerous, because you know that for cosmetic, we have the principle of risk assessment. And here behind this one substance, one evaluation, you can see that this is more about the principle of hazard assessment. And for us, it questions the fact that with this principle, we may lose some ingredient, which could be from the beginning assessed as dangerous as such, but it may not be that in a cosmetic product, they really bear a risk. So this is where we are a bit concerned. Essential usage principle. So here it's the point I mentioned, that a substance which as such would raise hazard may only be accepted if you can prove that you have an essential usage. What is an essential usage? It's not defined yet. We expect more news here, but again, we are to raise question mark for cosmetics. And the last point is an idea to say that we may need to assess products all together, because in a day you are using different products, you mix them in a way. And today, for a cosmetic product, you assess your formula for a specific usage. You assess your moisturizing cream. But during the day, you use different products, so how is it assessed? And this is where came this idea of a mixture assessment factor. You see the MAF acronym. And the idea would be to maximize, in some cases, the toxicological assessment to consider this mixture combination. For CLP, which is about labeling and chemical regulation, here you see that direct implication is that we will have the creation of new hazard classes. So we were already talking a lot about endocrine disruptor, but now it will be like an official classification. And you will have two types of categories, endocrine disruptor type 1 and type 2, depending on how dangerous they are. So it's a bit like a principle of a CMR, where you have CMR1, CMR2, same principle. There will be as well some new classes, which are more environmental hazard classes. The PBT, so persistent bioaccumulable and toxic substances, and the PMT, for the persistent, mobile, and toxic. So again, new classification to better protect the environment and the humans. And the last one is called MOX. It's a new classification rule for complex substances. And you may have heard recently that we had a big debate about essential oils, which in a way are MOX, because in an essential oils it's natural, but it's kind of it's a combination of a mixture of substances, and there's been a big debate because there was a proposal that the safety should be based on the assessment of each individual substances coming from those essential oils. And that as long as you would have like just one substance bearing a hazard, it could reclassify your whole essential oil dangerous, even if you had the proof that overall your essential oil was safe and that you had testing. So we did a lot of pushback here, explaining the science behind it. And so far we managed to push back this idea and this project, at least for essential oils, to 5 or 6 years more. So, which is for us a big success, and we will continue to lobby in that sense, because scientifically it makes no sense. Rich revision. So here there will be some changes in terms of the data you need to register a substance. It will go in the direction where more elements, more data will be required. There will be as well some new rules to register polymers, which were exempted today. And as well, the whole process will be revised. Now, coming to the cosmetic product regulation. So here you see that there will be as well a direct impact. So I mentioned this generic risk assessment principle. So you see that we will have new hazard classes, and the question will be how they will be managed as part of the cosmetic product regulation. So we expect a targeted revision of the CPR. It will not be like a total revolution, but as part of the CPR revision, we will need to have and to include the point about the management of those new hazard classes. So what we believe is that probably like the CMR today, there may be a principle where they would be forbidden only if they are part of the most dangerous one, and only if you do not have other alternative. But it's still a question, and there's the point as well I mentioned about the combined effect, this mixture assessment factor. I will come back to it later. The nano definition will be revised as well. I will tell you more. There's question about the SCCS governance and about labeling rules, but I'm not spending too much time now here. So let's deep dive into the impact on this cosmetic product regulation. So especially first with this generic risk assessment and combined effect. And here you already understood that what is behind for the Commission, for the authorities, is like really a precautionary principle. And it's very much driven for sure by the NGOs, by some authorities as well, like France, which really care about this principle. And where, as an industry, we fight against it because we believe it's totally not scientifically relevant. So this is, again, this generic approach to risk management where we would have an automatic prohibition of the most dangerous substance, except if we can prove we have an essential use. The essential use, how it will be understood as part of the cosmetic product regulations, not yet very clear. We hope and we believe it will not be at the product level itself. It should be more at the ingredient and technical function of the ingredient. But again, it leaves a lot of part to interpretation. So so consideration of the mixture assessment factor, what we know so far from the Commission, because maybe I did not tell you yet, but this is at more, we expect, in fact, in the coming weeks, we expect the project, we expect the proposal. Because so far we've been in a stage where the Commission have shown some different possible options, and they are going to issue in the coming week the official proposal, which will then go into debate and discussion between the different Parliament, Council, and Commission. But from past exchanges that we had with them, we understood that the mixture assessment factor, and probably the figure will be a figure of 5, will be applied for the substances considered as the most dangerous. So let's say, like you have an endocrine disruptor category 1, probably they will require that you apply a mixture assessment factor of 5. Meaning that compared to today, where, as you may know, for the cosmetic product safety report, you have to prove that you have a margin of safety of 100. Tomorrow, if it's confirmed, now we don't know yet, you may have to apply the mixture assessment factor, and so a margin of safety multiplied by 5, which, as you understood, will have a big impact. So you understood, as the principle is to take into consideration the combination effect of all the exposure that as human you have during a day, and same for the environment. So as industry, we fight for a scientific approach. And the risk we see is that we may lose some safe substances if this principle is confirmed. The opportunity we have and what we highlighted as part of all the consultation process which took place so far is to say that and to explain that today for the cosmetic product regulation in Europe, we already have very stringent rules, that we already have a cosmetic safety report assessed and signed by a toxicological expert, and that it's already considering, a margin of safety which ensure, and which in a way today is already considering this mixture assessment factor, because it's already this margin of safety of 100, it's already very conservative. So this is what we explained during the consultation process, and to teach and to make aware about the cosmetic product regulation principle that we believe are already very very safe. But again, we are under some principles which are cross-regulation, cross-sector, sorry. So moving to nano. So the nano definition will be revised. So for us, it's quite positive because so far we had different type of definition for nanomaterial between REACH, between the cosmetic product regulation. So it will be really an opportunity to align this. So last June, the European Commission issued already a new updated version of this definition. And so from what we know, the idea would be that they just take it and copy-paste it into the cosmetic product regulation. So for us, we see it as positive because at least it will allow to have an aligned definition cross sectors. And as well, we see it positively because this definition is taking a threshold of 50% of nano size material, which is relevant as well, scientifically speaking, and which will stop the debate and the interpretation that some member states had in the past, pushing this definition into the regulation itself. So the point is that it will not solve it totally, because there will be, we know there will be debate, and especially French authorities, they are already challenging this 50% threshold. And we know that they will push at European level for adding some criteria as part of the revision of the cosmetic product regulation to maybe add some additional safety consideration for nanomaterial assessment as part of the cosmetic. So again, here we are exchanging regularly with them, and we are part as well of the debate into the European Commission, because as Cosmed, we are representing SME United in the European Commission to share our views here. The definition on top of this 50% threshold is a big change as well, is that in the new definition, the intentionality of creating a nano is no more part of the exemption, because in the past, if your nanomaterial was not intentionally created, it would be exempted. No, it's no more the case. So, as you can see, it will increase the number of nanomaterials. And as you may know, in Europe, if you are under the definition of the nanomaterial, you have some condition to fulfill. And a very important one is that if you are under one of the positive list of the annexes of the EU cosmetic regulation, like the colorant one, you need to be officially part and register into those lists. And we know that some colorants, which are, in fact, they are nano, and they will become nano as per this intentionality criteria, they will need to be registered as part of those colorant annexes. And so it will be a huge work to collect the data, to assess them, and the organization assessing it is the SCCS. And so we know that there will be a bottleneck, especially as you saw before, that we will have as well those new hazard categories that we will need as well, and that will probably imply some new safety assessments. So we know there will be a bottleneck, and so here the idea and the principle would be that we can fight really to get a transition, because those materials, they are not new, they are present on the market since many, many years. And the idea would be to defend towards the authorities that, okay, as part of the definition, no, they are nano, they should go into this assessment through the SCCS, but we need time for that. We need time, and we need a transition to continue to consider them as authorized in the meantime, because they are valuable ingredients, and I mean today they have not shown some cosmetovigilance issue on the market as well. Another point which will be present in the revision of this regulation is about the question mark about the SCCS governance. So the SCCS is the scientific Consumer Committee for Safety Assessment. So this is an organization in Europe which have some independent experts which assess the safety of ingredients. And we know that for a principle of rationalization at European level, the idea would be to put all the current committee, the one that we have for cosmetic, but we have some other one for different sectors, to put them all together. The idea, which you could say is a good idea, is to rationalize the resources, to be more efficient. And again, it's towards this principle of one substance, one assessment cross-sector, so could make sense to put all those committees together. Our fear here is that we may lose the expertise of this committee, which is really a committee working and expert in cosmetics, so we don't want to lose that. So what we fight, and so far we believe that we've been heard, is that this committee, because the idea is to merge it into the ECHA, which is the chemical agency. The idea is that this, for us, this committee could remain independent into ECHA. And that at least they can keep their expertise and the way of working they have today, which have shown to be very efficient and very scientific based. So here we believe that it will be the case, but again, we need to see the proposal coming in a few weeks. Digitalization of labels. So this is an option which has been raised by the European Commission. At this stage, what they made very clear is that we are not yet ready to move directly to a total digitalization of all the regulatory information. So it's not, in a way, it's not a surprise. The idea behind the digitalization of some piece of information is that today the labeling are clearly overcrowded, that we have more and more additional regulatory constraints, that the consumer cannot even truly read it, that in parallel we have digitalization tools which are increasing. So the idea is to take this opportunity to tomorrow digitalize some information. So after the key question and the key piece of the debate, which information we can digitalize and which are the one mandatory that should keep on packaging. So we are not yet there. What we know is that from during a certain period of time, there will be both together, meaning digitalization possible, but keeping as well the physical element on packaging. And that progressively and gradually we may move to this opportunity. We know again that some countries and some authorities will be against, and for sure France will be against. So here we expect many debate and discussion. And the idea would be for the brands which already want to try it to do both digital and physical labeling, to try it and as well to test, that it's working properly. After, we see many opportunities of such tools, and we believe in it. It will for sure, contribute to this green transition. And it was the idea. Remember that we are under the Green Deal. So it was really the idea to have less packaging, because if you have less information to label, you can reduce the size of your packaging. It can as well, through digital tools, allow the consumer to get direct access to information, even after buying it. And for the manufacturer, it's very helpful as well, because you can update the information in real time. If you have an adjustment of your formula, or you realize that something is different, or you want to advertise it differently, it's very easy, and you don't have to update your packaging. So here we know it will take time. We are not yet there, but we were quite happy to see that the authorities are open to this idea, and that we will progressively switch to that. So in terms of the timeline of the cosmetic product regulation revision, so coming with, we expect this proposal, this draft revision from the Commission. Again, so far we only saw different options, and what I present to you today is what we perceive as what will be as part of this proposal, but let's see. Then we will enter into the trilogue part, where you have the Commission exchanging with the Parliament, exchanges with the Council, and all of them coming finally to a common final proposal 2024-2025, and we would expect the publication in 2026, and for sure with some transition time, depending as well on the different proposal, to have and to put your product into compliance with future requirements. So to conclude, some final thought. For sure, behind this Green Deal proposal, you see a lot of political pressure. We know that Europe, they really want to be perceived and to be seen as the regulatory, leader in the world. And so now they are really focusing on the sustainability question, and overall chemical hazard and toxicity question mark. Clearly in Europe, we never saw such complexity. You saw the CLP, the REACH, the CPR revision all in parallel. And plus, today I did not mention all the other purely sustainability regulation being updated as well, like the deforestation, wastewater, and so on. So for the company, it's really harsh currently. We know that the Commission is doing it, so not only to continue to be seen and perceived as worldwide regulatory leaders, but as well they have in mind that it can help Europe to innovate, because if you limit and you restrict the ingredients, then the industry will need to find some alternatives, some new ideas, and that it can stimulate innovation. So yeah, part of it is true, but the other way is as well to consider that it will be very complicated for the brands, additional resources, additional time, and we are a bit worried as well on how some of the companies, and especially the smallest one, can really go through it. But we keep being positive, and we expect to see this text in the coming weeks. And for sure, as Cosmed and being, representing SME United in Europe, we continue to exchange and to discuss, and to as well to make the authority realize that as cosmetic we have, some specificities, and that having such kind of cross-sectoral regulation which fit all, which sometimes is the idea, it may not work for cosmetics, and that we already have a framework which is working well, and that we should keep the key principle which are been demonstrating to be effective so far. So this is overall, this is what we do, this is what we share, and we continue to guide and to help the small company into this regulatory journey. Thank you for your attention, for your time.